Okay, we are on chapter 16. I don't know what the hell TikTok's problem is, but I've had to record this shit like 5 times. You've made me go through this 5 times for this chapter. And this chapter is the most boring chapter in Gypsy Rose's book. This chapter shouldn't even exist. You could have put those 3 important details that's in this chapter, Gypsy, in the last chapter, because this is ridiculous. I'm irritated, I'm sick, I'm upset, and I really didn't want to do this again. But to finish the series, so I have every chapter, I've had to do this. So we start the chapter with her basically telling us that she never had her Miranda rights read off to her. That never happened. She tells us about how that $4,000 that she was going to use for her and Nick to have an attorney, which she changed that real quick. It was for her to have a dream team like OJ. That wasn't gonna work out how she planned. She tells us at the prison, in the recreational hall, her and Nick would write letters to each other. Started out with Nick being fully supportive and her making sure he stayed on the leash and would testify in her behalf. She literally stated that she wanted to make sure that he was still supporting her, and that's why she would write him. And I think that's so fucked up, and it tells exactly what kind of a person she is and exactly what she had planned to do to him the entire time. Read between the lines, baby. Read between the lines, because that's exactly what you did. You used him, manipulated him, and was going to discard him like trash, like everybody else that's in your life. She then later tries to make him a villain and says that he had wrote her a letter saying that and now he could have wrote this, I'm not going to say he didn't, but he said that women should be submissive, or wives should be submissive to their husbands. She tells us about how she didn't know anybody's number but her own number. What a shocker. Of course she would know her own number and no one else's. That's all that matters to her. And that her aunt had reached out to her because they had seen her all over the news. So she calls her aunt gives her dad's number. She calls her dad, and she says that she just talks his head off because she didn't want him to reject her or turn her down or just not help her. But then she says that they were more like acquaintances because the only thing that they had talked about before was football and the weather, even though she recants and lets us know once again that she would talk about anything her mother wanted her to talk about to her dad. Her mom would feed her lines. So what is it, Gypsy? Which one? Which one? Then she talks and tells us about the time that she was in the county jail van where they transport inmates, and that 2 male inmates were sitting in front of her, and they turned around and they bullied her just like everybody else bullies her, and told her that she was going to get death row, that they had seen her all over the news and she was popular and blah 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 blah. And then she ends this chapter talking about biscuits and gravy, because I don't know why she has a fascination with biscuits and gravy, but she says that all prisoners love biscuits and gravy because it reminds them of life being salty and sweet. That's everything that's happened in this chapter. The most pointless chapter I have ever heard in my entire life. I don't know who wrote this book, but guys, you're not doing a good job. But yeah, hopefully 17 is much better than this.